Hello, my name is Mason Malhoff, and I will be presenting my speech over vaccinations in the United States. Have you, the audience, ever thought about the possibility of your own children falling ill to one of the many deadly diseases present in the world today, including smallpox, rinderpest, polio, and malaria? The reasoning behind this question is that many of you will one day have to make that decision primarily for the well-being of your own children. These diseases, which once killed thousands, were soon suppressed due to the effects of vaccinations. The government should use their power for good and enforce all children to be vaccinated for the better half of the country. Today I will propose solutions to the individuals that believe vaccinations are harmful and dangerous for the health of our children. Vaccinations prevent diseases from spreading and contaminating others while also saving children's lives. What is the benefit of having mandatory vaccinations, you may ask? Well, the answer is quite simple. They prevent diseases from spreading and contaminating others. According to a 2019 article by Immunize for Good, they stated, "Immunization is considered one of the greatest public health achievements of the 20th century. And experts agree that immunization is key to staying healthy." When children are in a classroom setting, they aren't aware of what is and what isn't contaminated with deadly germs. Especially in an elementary setting, kids are coughing and sneezing into their little hands, and then going on to touch everything in sight, including others. They have yet to acquire an understanding of how germs can be passed from one individual to the next. They would rather cough 5 times into their hand than go on to hug one of their friends without washing their hands. If a handful of kids were unable to get vaccinated due to their parents' misconceptions, it could lead to a lifetime of agony and regret. According to a 2019 article by Daily Health Wire, they stated, "People may say, why should I get the polio vaccine? Polio isn't out there anymore. Whooping cough isn't out there anymore," Dr. Bailey said. "It is out there, but because most of us have the vaccine, we don't contract it even when we are exposed to it." Now, I'm not saying germs are only present in classroom settings, because they're not. Germs are present everywhere in the world today. Some are good, and others can have an everlasting effect on an individual who could have been vaccinated to prevent a lifetime of medical bills. Take polio as an example. Due to vaccinations, we have succeeded in putting the disease on the brink of extinction. However, if you're one of the individuals who were affected by this deadly disease, you could have ended up in an iron lung for the remainder of your life, or possibly even death. Unable to enjoy life and freedom since you're confined to an apparatus that helps you stay alive. Everyone must be vaccinated, not only for the better quality of life for themselves, but also for others. No one wants to be affected negatively by any disease present in the world today. So do yourself and others a favor and make sure your kids get the proper immunizations. If you're not satisfied with the first benefit of vaccinations or are still curious on what else I have to say, here you go. Vaccinations can ultimately save kids' lives. This is the main reason why our government needs to step up and make vaccinations a mandatory thing. The health of the future generation is the ultimate goal. According to a 2019 article by Pediatrics Associates of Franklin, they noted, in the past 50 years, vaccines have saved more than 1 billion people and made life better for everyone by preventing more illnesses and disabilities than we can count. The more people that get the proper immunization, the less of a chance of a disease has to infect enough people to survive. Without proper vaccinations, our human existence may have been wiped out long before we got the chance to fight back. For all the parents out there in the audience, and even future parents, please vaccinate, because you never know the outcome of what lies ahead in your children's lives. You just never know. Maybe one day polio comes back and wipes 1/3 of our population out. One of the many people affected could most likely be your own children or even yourself. That's why vaccinations are essential. You just never know what lies ahead. The inevitable always comes back to hinder us as a society. According to a 2019 article by Pediatrics Associates of Franklin, they stated, "Vaccination is one of the best tools we have to reduce fatal and debilitating communicable diseases and make a safer, healthier world." If we cannot come together immediately as a society to face the fear of vaccinations, we could soon see another epidemic of yet another deadly disease wiping individuals out left and right, and no one wants to see that. The first plan of action towards making the United States free of deadly diseases and death is the government stepping up. The government needs to require all vaccinations to be mandatory for dealing with this crisis. For the people who aren't financially able to pay for these vaccinations can get financial aid through government-funded systems or programs. Taxes may increase for this action to be implemented, but when we're talking about the health of America, that should come first. For the children who are allergic to certain ingredients, the FDA needs to find alternative ingredients for making vaccinations just as effective. Each vaccination will then be listed on a government-regulated website that lists all ingredients present in each vaccination. This will allow parents to actually see firsthand what will be injected into their kids for their safety, along with certain side effects that may follow. The reason parents don't trust vaccinations is because they're not educated enough to the point where they feel safe with vaccinations. That's why a website that gives them all the information will make them feel like they're making the right decision without any misconceptions. We, as the citizens of the United States, need to trust that the government will put forth their best assets when trying to unveil the best possible solution to stopping these deadly diseases. That will have no deadly side effects after ingesting the vaccination. Ultimately, the only way we can move forward as a society is by putting all our trust into the government and not allowing misconceptions to get the best of us. Vaccinations were created to fight the spread of deadly diseases. If everyone doesn't get their proper vaccination, that then will lead to further complications such as another outbreak or even death. Why would the plan of action work, you may ask? That's quite simple. The reasoning behind is that everyone would then be vaccinated, which wouldn't allow any deadly diseases to spread from one person to the next. Also, within the creation of the government-regulated website that lists all the ingredients of each vaccination, parents will then have no excuse to not vaccinate their kids. Educating parents and future parents about these vaccines will benefit both society's health as well as the children. With everyone receiving vaccinations, deadly or dangerous diseases will not survive or continue to be a threat. Increasing taxes in order to provide vaccines to children or adolescents in need may seem out of reach to many people, but it will ultimately protect society as a whole as well as the future generation. Once the government decides to make vaccinations mandatory, diseases will not last against the proper immunization. At the end of the day, it will ultimately make our country safer along with a better quality of life for the future generation to mature and grow in. In the end, the health of this great nation should be our biggest concern, and that starts with vaccinating our children. Diseases will soon be a thing in the past, but in order to get there, we must put forth all our trust in the government. The government should use their power for good and enforce all children to be vaccinated for the better half of the country. Today I covered why vaccinations are essential, and that is because they stop the spread of disease and save kids' lives. If we come together and do our jobs to the best of our ability, no one will fall victim to any of the deadly diseases present in the world today. The future generation is what will improve this nation's status. They cannot do that if our streets are riddled with dead bodies. Thank you.